What's up, Magnetic Men Club? Sorry about that little bit of a delay we had today. We were having some technical issues with our streaming software. For some reason, it just wasn't letting us go live on time, but we prevailed and we are here for this Friday's live. And the subject for today is going to be one that we actually made a video for this last week. You can find the link for that below. But it's all on masculine traits that make you irresistible to women, like the different masculine traits that you can display to make you absolutely irresistible, to make you come off as more confident, more assertive, more charismatic, that kind of stuff too. So I'm going to let Jared here, my friend Jared, talk a little bit more about what those traits actually are.
Yeah, hey guys, hope everyone's going to have an amazing weekend. Got down here. I'm in North Carolina with my other company this weekend, so get some clients booked out there. But yeah, I did this video and I think it posted Wednesday. And there's a laundry list of things women look for in a man. I mean, and every woman's individual. So she's going to have her own set of qualities, set of things, set of traits that she's going to look for. But for the most part, I did 5 and then I gave a bonus. So we're going to talk about, if we get through it in time, the 6 most common traits that if you possess, hopefully all of them, but if you possess more of these, your chances of success with most women are going to be better. And so, really the very first one, it's 2 traits, but you really can't have one without the other, and it's confidence and assertiveness. I would argue you can't be assertive if you're not confident.
Right.
And you can't be confident if you're not assertive. So they go hand in hand. And I don't think I've ever met too many very confident people who aren't assertive. And I haven't met any assertive people who aren't confident. So they do go hand in hand, but they're very different. And I put that at number 1 for a reason, is because confidence, not only, a lot of people say fake it till you make it. And I guess if you're a young man watching this and you haven't had much trials and tribulations in your life, maybe if you're out there dating, having that act of kindness or kindness of confidence, that fake it till you make it. Yeah, that could work, but it's the actual doing. It's actually going through the life of a man, going through trials, going through heartbreak, maybe going through, jobs. You got fired, building up your body. All of these things help you get confidence, and it's in your failures in life is where you get confidence, because it lets you know you're not going to die. You can do something and you're not going to die. It's not going to kill. Well, there's some things, but going through that, and as you build confidence, you start learning more about your own power, and then kind of by default you become assertive because you know who you are.
That's all about experience. Yeah.
It's all about experience, all about stories. Women want a man who has some stories, who's not boring, who's been to places, who's done things, who is capable of doing things, who has had a life. And so when you have all of these things and you do have confidence, and or even if you're a young man watching this and you're going through the process of life, having those failures, having those kind of roadblocks in your life, not stopping, learning to go around, learning to pivot, realizing, okay, I can't do it this way, I got to do it that way. All of these things, the long game will give you confidence. Nobody's born with confidence. Nobody. It's not a trait that you're like, oh, I'm confident.
Right.
It doesn't happen.
Well, it's not something that's really a skill or anything like that either. It's really something that just comes with experience. It comes with just being all about what you want to be and doing what you want to do, kind of detaching yourself from the particular outcome that you expect. Because then we get into a pattern where we're trying to control everything that comes our way. We're trying to control the outward things that come at us,
Right.
but not realizing that it's really the character that we're building along the way, how we become stronger as a person, that's really going to give us that confidence. And that on top of experience is really where that comes from.
Right. Right. And so that's why I went number one. even when I'm talking to other men, I'm a, men, we kind of, what's the best word for it? We kind of see who's more dominating in a certain situation. We always do. It's kind of that dominant type thing. But when I'm talking to another male who's very confident and very assertive, it's refreshing because it's less and less these days. But when you talk to a female, guys, you can back test this. Ask your girlfriend, wife, your sisters, your girl, just girls that you know. Having a man who knows who he is, who's confident, he doesn't mind taking losses. He's going to learn from those. That's probably the biggest trait or one of the biggest turn-ons that a woman would have for you. It has nothing to do with your looks. I know very ugly, confident men. I mean, you can see it around there. If you see a really ugly dude with a 10, this dude either has money, he probably has a lot of other traits, but I mean, he's very confident. And so you want to develop that part of you, and you can only develop it through life, just going through life and learning of the things that you're afraid to do. That's what you need to do. If you're afraid to go talk to that pretty girl, if you're afraid to go ask your boss for a raise, if you're afraid to maybe start a new college course or switch your career because your parents wanted you to do it, but you want to do that. If you're afraid to do it, that's what you need to do, because that's what's going to really get you into knowing who you are. When you went through that little bit of fire, whatever it is, and you came out on the other side, and like, it wasn't so bad. My thought was such that I can't do this. And so I didn't do it. Well, then you suffer from regret, and we don't want that. So what we want is just do it. Don't think of it too much, move with it. And you'll realize, okay, I might have failed at it. That's fine. But I figured out I can't do it that way. I have to go around and do it this way, or retool something and go back out. It's the repetitiveness of keep going until you get it right.
Right.
And so that's why I always put that at number one. And it's not really just dating. It's just even in sales, the more confident you are, not arrogant, the more confident you are, the more assertive you are. I just got rid of a girl who, I'll give you a quick story. I love her to death. She was doing some of my phone calls, follow-ups, and it's on my other company. And the way she talked, as soon as she got a no, oh, okay, have a good day, bye. And I kept coaching her. I said, follow my script. She goes, I just don't like getting no's. So I had to get rid of her because she was too afraid to go through that no. She's too afraid to go through, somebody goes, I'm busy right now. And, usually I don't pay any attention. I just keep talking. Like, you're not busy.
Right.
So even having that confidence, having that assertiveness can help you in business. It can help you, obviously, in your personal life. But everybody around you, if you're a very confident, very assertive guy, you're a safe guy. You're a guy who they feel safe around. You're not, you're going to say something if you feel like something needs to be said. Maybe somebody's doing something in the area. You're confident enough to know about your abilities. Hey, I don't like what you do, and stop talking to her like that, or what have you. So it's not just on dating, but women will feel safe around a confident, assertive man. Now, there's a very fine line sometimes between confidence and arrogantness.
Arrogance.
There is a fine line between that, and I've probably crossed that many a times, but that just also comes with time. Just realizing you throttle it back a little bit. You don't have to be a complete dick, but you can be very confident what you do.
Right. There's a fine line between confidence and arrogance for sure.
There is. Sometimes I still do cross it, and I'm like, but hey, I'm learning too. This is a process.
It's all feedback.
Yeah. Some of the messages we get, on our short videos and stuff, people, you'd be surprised how many Monday morning armchair quarterbacks are out there telling you suck, and you're never going to meet them. They're never going to meet you. And, if you're not confident in your abilities, if you're not assertive, if you can't take those licks, then this type of business that you're in, we're getting more followers and stuff, it's not for you. You got to have some very thick skin,
I want to be able to take the criticism, all that stuff for sure too. I mean, that's the thing too, is when you put yourself out there as a public figure, when you start to put your ideas out there, you're obviously going to get a variable amount of feedback. And that's the thing too, is that you got to have that confidence to be able to just do it anyway. That's really what all this comes down to.
Yeah. What about you? What, based off your level, you're older as well with me. I mean, what do you think about that as far as what would you rate maybe one of the biggest things that women generally look for?
Oh, I think it definitely comes down to that confidence and assertiveness too. Even when you're married, you've been married for a long time, it definitely comes down to confidence and assertiveness, because it obviously builds into that next thing we're going to talk about, which is, having stability and security. And that's really what makes women feel safe. Mm-hmm. And so ultimately, I think it really comes down to definitely that is the foundation work that you kind of have to do to kind of build on all these other things, especially when it comes down to charisma too. Like, you got to make sure that you're a fun person. You got to make sure that you're interesting. But in addition to that, it's really the foundation for everything else you're going to build into in your life. Mm-hmm. And so that's what women look for. They look for men who are sure of themselves. They look for men who have experience. They look for men who can speak from experience too, because that's really what they want to see. They want to see somebody who's had a life. They want to see somebody who's learned how to do other things. He's not so helpless. He can take care of himself. If he wants to leave, he can. And so it's really, like I said, you got to detach yourself from the outcome. Stop expecting so many other things to happen and really build into that confidence. It's really going to be the key to you staying on your path and your purpose. When you're confident and assertive, you're never, ever going to let anybody get you off your path and purpose, no matter how long you're in the relationship.
Yeah. Good point. Yeah, I like that. And then you mentioned foundation, having a good foundation, being stable. That's one that I actually did that by accident. And it wasn't taught to me. I spent a good part of my youth in the military. And so I learned, different skills, different things, went to different places and stuff. But I didn't really understand how that was going to play out for me until later in life. When I came back from the military,
right.
I was 26, I believe, and I owed him 4 years, but it was the Guard, so local.
Right.
And I was my high school sweetheart, whatever you want to call her. We only dated a little bit, but then we got back together, getting ready to have marriage. And I realized, even though I just got out of the military, I had all these opportunities that kind of was afforded to me, not just for being in the military, but being the type of person I was. So at 26,
right,
my friends were still partying. They were still, looking, let's go to the next bar. Let's do this. A lot of them had
dead-end I get it. Yeah,
jobs.
For sure.
And a lot of them still to this day have dead-end jobs. But what I did in my early years, and then I didn't stop at 26. That's when I really started getting into real estate. And, again, my wife was a very good support system at that time. She left me alone. But I built this financial stability at a young age. And so as it brought me into, 30s, in my 30s into my 40s, I don't have to work if I don't want to. I love
Right.
to work, but I don't have to. And so women, it's a lot of guys are going to get this wrong because they say women like gold diggers. That's not it. They want somebody who can provide for them, protect them, and yes, provide them money. But we're also talking about provisioning in other ways. Provide wisdom through your stories, provide guidance. Women want to be led. They really do. I know that sounds like a lot of crap, and you hear all these women saying, "Oh, I'm a boss babe." They don't want they don't want that. They want a dominant man who loves them, that's kind, caring, but can lead them, who is the leader of the relationship.
Absolutely, for sure.
And I argue with this with a lot of women until they really understand my points. They're like, "Yeah, you're right." I'm like, "Well, why are you alone then?" First question, I'm like, "Well, you're such a boss babe." I'm not throwing shade on you women. Then why are you alone? Oh, because nobody can handle me. Well, why would a guy want to handle you? He's handling his life. He's handling his business. Why does he want to come home and handle you? So
Right.
once you get past all this crap, they want that. They need stability. Especially again, if you're a younger guy watching this, God forbid you get a girl pregnant and you're in a dead end job, you have no life skills, you have really no prospects in your life, and you get someone pregnant. It's scary for her, it's scary for you. She has no way of knowing that you'll stick around. I can't tell you how many women that I've known, I've talked to, I still do. Their child support. You hear these horror stories about these guys going through child support and they're paying 20,000 a month or all this. I'm like, that is such a far right. Most of these guys get off at like $30 a month, $40 a month, $100 a month.
Right.
And what's that doing for your kid? Nothing. Like, that's a pair of sneakers. You know what I mean? So it's very hard for a woman, especially when sex is involved and the potential of having a baby. She's going to look for a man who has the ability to stick around. And if he doesn't stick around, at least can pay for that child. And sadly, that's most of the time it's not enough. The child support that they get is not enough. I coach way more women going through this than guys, and it's crazy what these guys have to pay based off their income. And I'm not throwing shade at the guys based off their income, but I kind of look at like, you failed at life. You settled for a okay job. You didn't really have. You're okay with your lot in life. I'm never okay with my lot in life. And that comes down to that foundation. It comes down
Right.
to that. And it comes down to the bonus one, which we can talk about as ambition, but it all ties together. But man, foundation, having that good, solid foundation, spiritually, mentally, and financially. If you have that, you're like a trifecta for a woman. They're like, "Oh my God, this dude."
Right. Right. Well, the thing is, too, is like your freedom is their freedom. And I believe, for me at least, like ultimate freedom is having the financial freedom that you need. It's having the location freedom. Obviously, for me, I like to be able to travel. I like to be able to be where I want, when I want, that kind of stuff too.
Yep.
But then also having the time freedom too, because like a lot of people will build a business and they just created another job for themselves, or they just create a job where they have now 15 bosses instead of just the one. And so
Yep.
that's the thing too, is it's kind of tricky to try and figure out exactly what you should be doing. Like, should you be trying to move up the career ladder in a corporation? Should you be trying to skill yourself up and become a freelancer? Should you just go open a local business and just, maybe a mechanic shop or something along those lines,
Yep.
right? There's a lot of different things that you could do. You could open up a sports bar or something like that, but you got to understand exactly what's going to be involved with doing that.
Mm-hmm.
And so the whole point is to achieve that financial freedom. Like, do you really want ultimate freedom? Do you really want to be able to go where you want, when you want, do whatever you want for whatever reason you decide?
Right.
Then you've got to be able to become some kind of an entrepreneur. You've got to be able to work yourself into a job that's going to allow you to do that. And two of the easiest ways to do that is to learn how to code or learn how to make content, build an audience, that kind of stuff. Those are the most valuable things. And that's all stuff that we teach inside of our program.
Yeah.
But the whole point is to identify that one thing that's really going to give you that ultimate freedom so that you can build that foundation, be sure of yourself, and just move forward that way. That's why I got into this business. That's why I even started doing marketing at all, because I remember I was sitting in a cubicle at the IRS. My wife actually was working at on the same floor. She was just like right across from me, essentially. So we were always there ready to have lunch with each other. But it was like being in school again. Like I'm in my late 20s at the time, and I'm sitting here thinking like, man, it feels like I'm in school, because like I have this boss and they're telling us what to do all the time. I have to try and commission people who are younger than me to be able to even take a day off and that kind of stuff too. And just it got to a point where I'm just like, I can't do that. That's not freedom. That's just another prison. And so we were actually in the process of buying a house at the time too. And I remember like we turned it down. We totally were just like, okay, screw it. Let's go live abroad. Let's go live in Mexico. Let's go live in paradise and see what that's all about and see if we can actually make it. Yeah. And the whole point is like, I can't just go get a job. Like I have to actually make my money online. If I don't make my money online, there's no money to pay for rent. There's no money to pay any of the bills. We can't maintain our lifestyle. I've got 4 kids, a whole family and stuff here too. And I've been doing this for 3 years. And so, like I said, I quit that job at the IRS, and I'm like, I just put my faith and my confidence into everything that I knew that I wanted to achieve, and that I would have to make all my money online moving forward. And so I just figured out every possible way I could to actually make money online and be able to build into these businesses and build these audiences and market this stuff and really start to come up with marketing strategies that make money. Like I said, this is all stuff that we teach inside of our program. It's not just all about life design and trying to design yourself and trying to become everything you want to be. It's all a matter of really setting yourself free and living that life that you've always dreamed of.
Yeah. And I remember I did a video probably a couple weeks ago about my advice to young men. And I specifically said it, and it was part of this specific section is don't focus on women when you're young. Focus on yourself. Focus on whatever it is you want to get out of life. Start building yourself. The women will be there. But when you're in a level where you have money coming in, you have some successes, you have some stability, you became a little bit more confident because of those successes, and because not those successes, but also those failures, you become more attractive to a woman, not because, hey, look, he has money. It's like, no, look, he's done something. And women want a doer.
Right.
You know, Rich Cooper does say it, and it's pretty crude, but it's 100% accurate. Women will wait at the finish line and F the winners. They don't want.
It is what it is. Yeah.
They don't want a loser. I mean, at the end of the day, it's your job to be a winner. And whatever that means for you, like if you're cool with having a basic 9-to-5 job and you like it, great. We're not knocking that. But if you're not, and you feel like this is going to be your life and it's sucking you, and you feel like, man, there's got to be more, there is. And it is building that foundation, is stepping out of that, what you want to call the matrix, whatever crap the buzzwords are now, but stepping out and realizing I can become self-employed if I choose to. Is it easy? Hell no. I run 4 companies. I never sleep. And sometimes I even tell people who are highly intelligent, kids that are highly intelligent, like, listen, if you have the chance to run like a Fortune, not even a 500, a Fortune 100 or 200 company, and you're making a couple $100,000 a year, you might be better off with that position than self-employed, because they can afford to pay you. You might not be able to afford to pay yourself for a few months, a few years, what have you. So it's not always about being self-employed. What it is about finding what you truly love to do. And I'm even going to back that up, because I know so many rich people that freaking hate what they do, but they're competitive and they love the fact that they dominate in what they do. They don't care.
They're in it for the game. Yeah, they're there just to play.
And I know we're getting a little bit off topic, but it all comes down to that very basic thing. You have to build your emotional health, obviously your financial health, your physical health. Those three things, if you have a solid frame around that, all the other things that we're talking about, maybe with the exception of one, you're kind of naturally going to have. If you have that, you will have confidence. You will be assertive. By default, getting those things, you're going to become more confident. You're going to
It's
become
really
more
those cornerstone things, like the things that all
yeah,
the other supports kind of depend on, right?
yeah,
You get that same thing when you start talking about habits and stuff too. Like anybody who's read James Clear's Atomic Habits, like that's one big thing that he talks about too, is like identifying those keystone things that you can really focus on and change that will change everything else by default too.
yeah, yeah. And again, look at if you ask most women, maybe when they're younger, they're going to say, no, I want to go to college and be a lawyer and all this. But once they get into this, what we call that epiphany phase, where their girlfriends are getting married and starting to have kids, there's going to be this itch that most women want. They're going to want to have children, and they're not going to want to work to pay a significant amount of the bills. They're just not. Most of them have to, but most of them would prefer, hey, my husband, he can handle this on his own. He wants me to stay home. Most women would rather stay home and raise the children. Maybe have a part-time, or maybe whatever their career is, they can throttle it back a little bit. But
Well, that's the way it
I
should
want,
be. I mean,
yeah.
ultimately.
And I did that with, my wife. She, was a hairstylist, and I paid most of the bills. She still went out, I want to say maybe 2 or 3 times a week to do her business, to keep her clients. But the rest of the time she was with the kids. She went to, all the games that I couldn't because I was working, but she loved it. That was, she had all of those little things. She was able to experience those and not be stuck at work. And I'm
Right.
glad she got those, because sadly, a lot of people, and I do videos I bring about it, she passed away very young. With my kids were young, but she at least was able to have those very young toddler years into actually even to preteen with them, like 95% of the time.
No, that's amazing.
So yeah. And so, I was glad that I was able to provide that for her. And she chose to work. She decided to become self-employed and start her own thing, but she didn't have to. She didn't need to. She just said, I want to open up my own salon. Great. We helped her
Right.
build it out.
I get that too. My
So
wife's the same way too. Like, I mean, we could
yeah,
totally provide that security and that stability, but she
yeah,
loves working. She loves what she does. I mean, she doesn't know what else she would be doing otherwise anyway. So
yeah.
some people just like to work. They like to achieve.
Yeah, and as a guy, we are providers, so we want to at least provide that opportunity. Say you meet some girl, maybe a little bit later in life, you want to provide that opportunity. Like, hey, you want to have kids? Yeah, I do. Okay, great. Well, if we decide to have kids and we go down that road, I'd prefer you to stay at home, because why would I want a stranger
Right.
watching the kids? And so that foundation, emotional health, financial health, obviously, and physical health, they all kind of go hand in hand, because the worst one, if you don't have your health, period, none of the other two matter. If you have look at what was his name? He had Apple. I mean, he was a billionaire and he had liver.
Steve Jobs.
Yeah, I mean, he even said all the money in the world doesn't
Couldn't
matter.
save him. Yeah. That's the thing. You
So
can't take it with you.
those three things go hand in hand. So if you do have that, or you are younger and you are developing that, stay on that path. Don't necessarily worry about women right now. They will come, and you'll be in a better light to provide for them if you choose to. What are your thoughts on that?
Absolutely, for sure. I think that a lot of people can kind of get fully consumed by, like, obviously people who start going to the gym, like, it quickly becomes a whole lifestyle kind of thing. And the same thing's true with entrepreneurship. Like, once you actually move into being an entrepreneur, it will fully consume your life at first. And that's why it's important to hire mentors and get to people who have actually gone and done exactly the thing that you want to go and do.
Right.
You got to learn exactly how they did it so that you can shortcut it and collapse the time that it takes for you to get there. And so the biggest thing is understanding what's important to you, though. Why are you building into this? Why are you trying to make your own income online? Why are you trying to be an entrepreneur? You really got to ask yourself what's really driving you, because it's really easy to get consumed by all the things that you're trying to achieve.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, I mean, a lot of it does have to be a large part of your lifestyle, but it doesn't have to be everything. And like a lot of people forget to, reach out to family and friends and loved ones. They forget to tell the people around them how they feel. They forget to get out there and actually make friends and spend time with friends and do the things that they really love doing, the things that, really make life worth it. Like it's good to achieve, but you got to go enjoy the fruits of your labor from time to time, because life is not all about achievement and work. And you can't really forget about those things that really feed your soul too.
Yeah, absolutely. What do you think about if you were talking to, your 18, 19-year-old self on this subject? And the reason I bring it up is because my son, he's 19 now and he has an idea what he wants, but I try not to push him in that direction, because the question I always ask is this what you want because society wants you this way?
Right.
Or is this what you want because you want it? And if you could go back, I guess, to 18, 19, would you be in the position you are now? Meaning, would you shortcut it, say, you know what, I'd be doing this, but I'd get rid of the IRS years, the college years, all that crap, and I would go do this. So how would you answer that? Are you not where you want to be, because you shouldn't be. Nobody's where they want to be.
Exactly. Yeah.
But I always look at all the stuff in my life is the stuff that I did because somebody else wanted me to do it, or because I wanted to do it. And I think that's a good question. I want to ask you that, but it's a good question to ask, even if you're a younger guy or even an older guy watching this. Why are you, like you said, why are you doing the things that you do?
So that's the thing too. When I was that age, I mean, there's a lot of things that I think I would change about what I did, but there's a lot of things that I know I had to experience in order to kind of level myself up and break through and get to the next level. There's a lot of things that were really bad at the moment, but they really always kind of turned out being better things in the long run. And so what I would say to 19-year-old me is like, don't sweat the small stuff. Like, stop reacting to everything. Stop getting so emotional about things. Stop being so impressionable, and really figure out what your values are, so nobody can tell you what your values are. It's really important that you figure out and identify the things that are most important to you and write those things down, because that should dictate every move that you make. That should dictate every single thing that you do, because you're going to learn a lot of hard lessons by understanding that, like, if you're impressionable by society, by your parents, by your religion, are your choices really your own? That's kind of the whole point, is understanding that if I really want my choices to be mine and for me and the best thing for me, and if I really want to protect my boundaries and hold my frame and set that foundation the right way, I got to be really serious about what it is that is most important to me. So, like, really what I asked myself was, how do I want to make my money? How do I really want to spend my days? Like, because for me, like, I can't have a boss, man. Like, I just would not do very well in the management structure. I like to do things my way. I like to be creative with my processes. I like to do things in my time, that kind of stuff too. Like, if I want to knock out for the afternoon and just go head to the beach and have a beer, whatever, right? I like having the freedom to be able to do that. So that's something that's really important to me. And another thing that's really important to me is spending as much time with my kids and my wife and all that stuff as much as possible too. So that's another family, right? Another cornerstone for me. And so really, family, online entrepreneurship, passive income, so I don't have to spend all my time doing it, really systemizing everything, automating everything, and making sure that my business runs itself, so that I'm free to just do what I want. I'm free to do these calls with you. I'm free to sit down and make all the courseware that we need in our community. I'm free to really just sit down and set up all those automations and make sure this business runs itself. And so there's just a lot of different things that you can do to really move into what's really important to you. Because like I said, I mean, I want to spend more time with my family. If we want to just simply go to Hawaii just because we want to do it, then we should have the freedom to do that.
Yeah.
If my wife wants to take a month or two off because she wants to take care of her mental health, she should have the freedom to do that. And
Yep.
so that's the whole point. If one of my kids breaks his arm, we need to have the freedom to go to the medical center to make sure it gets taken care of, right?
Yeah, that would help.
All that
right?
stuff's important. So, like, really, that's like I said, don't sweat the small stuff. Just keep moving forward. Just keep building yourself and really be serious about your values.
Yeah. No, I like that. The only reason I ask that is because you're kind of in the middle of me in the sense that I'm 48. I miss social media. Grow up in high school, we didn't have it. It wasn't there. How old are you?
I'm 33.
Okay, so you had all of that, but it was still new. Like it wasn't like an 8-year-old now. They know far more than you at 8 than you did. And
right.
Just with being inundated. So I did a video on it, and I always keep referring back to it. It hasn't been posted yet, but that inner validation versus external validation. And I think what's been screwing up a lot of people, and I would say because the reason why I bring this up is because my demographic who's watching these videos, this just came to me, is 25 to 35.
Yeah.
They're falling dead in that middle of when social media first started really coming up. You don't know who you are because you have this really good looking guy,
Absolutely, yeah.
on Instagram, and you're like, I want to be like him, and well, you're not good looking, or it's like society is now dictating for the most part what you should be, or the idea of what you should be. So everyone wants to be an influencer. Everyone wants to be a rapper. Everybody wants to be a basketball player or a baseball player. But if you really step back, like, what is it that you want? You want that because society's telling you that's where the money is. But is it really about money? Is it about your fulfillment? And so this is super important because you can have a shit ton of money and you're not fulfilled. You don't have a life. There's no fulfillment. There's no life. So Magnetic Men in and of itself isn't to teach you how to be a billionaire. I'm not a billionaire. I don't know how to teach you how to be one. It's to teach you about that fulfillment aspect. If I can get you to a level of some type of fulfillment in your life where you're self-sustaining and you're self-realizing, that in and of itself, on women coming to you, opportunities coming to you, that in and of itself is what we're here to do, is to get that fulfillment of somehow in your life. Because once you get that internal validation, you're going to turn off the YouTubes, and also you're not going to look externally.
Well, that's the thing too, is to understand that a lot of this information that you're going to consume out here is completely biased from the person who created it for the reason that they created, especially if they have a sponsored channel and sponsored videos and their YouTube partner making their money off all these ads. Like they have a boss. Those sponsorships come with rules and terms and ways that you have to do it, when you have to do it, how frequent you have to do it, what you can and can't say on your channel, all that stuff. And so you have to understand that, like, everybody's always trying to control you. And so you really got to be really serious with your values and what it means to you so that you can keep moving in the right direction. Because there's so much information out there that's contradictory. Like, you'll read this book on this thing and that book on that thing, and each one comes with a contradictory term. Yeah. And so that's the point too, is like, I always had this analogy that I would give to a lot of people when I first started coaching. And that was, like, are you on the right ladder or are you on the wrong ladder? Right. Because that's the whole point too, is it doesn't matter how high you climb on that ladder if you get to the next level, if it's the wrong ladder. Yeah. Because if it's the wrong ladder, you're going to be miserable by the time you get to that ladder. Now you got to climb all the way down and then go find the right ladder and start climbing up that one from that point. You just wasted all that time. Right. And so it's really critical that you understand what's important to you and why and what your values really are, so that you can choose that right ladder early on and start climbing up that right ladder early on. The thing is too, is being on the wrong ladder, there's also other analogies for that. Like, it's a lot more comfortable to cry in a Mercedes than it is to cry in a Volvo, right? So, well, no, I'm glad you brought that up, because again, we want to plug this, but it's free, so I'm going to keep plugging it. Is especially if you're a young guy, 25 to even that 35, that seems to be our demographic, and that's great. I kind of look at it as I'm your dad now. Like, dad's 48, and that's fine.
Matter of fact, my son, who's 19, his friends watch my channel, and they even tell me, like, you say some crazy shit, but you say stuff my own dad, I wish he would tell me this, or I wanted to ask him, but you're just vomiting it out. I'm like, yep, that's how I am. So jump on a call with us. It's free, because I don't want you to fall into that thought of, I'm doing this because my dad wants me to do it. I'm doing this because that makes $100,000 a year. Would you even like that? You're not going to be fulfilled. So I'll help you. I'll help you for free. We'll come up with changing that thought of, like, you have to do what's right for you and what's best for you, so that you can start building that frame. And once you build that frame and you start getting some wounds and getting some licks and all this, you'll have that confidence. And again, back to the live on this, as women, we probably should have changed it, because it's not just for women. It's just people coming into your life. All of these things we talking about really is what gravitates people to you, not just women. It really does. And so, like, the third one that we brought up in the video that I'll kind of lead into is having a sense of humor. And yes, women love that. Women love a guy who maybe doesn't take himself so much seriously. Maybe he's quick-witted. They love a guy like that, because that puts their guard down. They're able to kind of act a little bit goofy as well. And having a sense of humor, but not being goofy, that's the difference. There's a lot of guys out there that just act goofy for no reason. They're just goofy bastards. But you do want to not take yourself so seriously. I don't care if you're, again, a president of some Fortune 500 company. If you're all stuffy and blah, 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 you're going to be a stick in the mud. You're not going to be fun. Girls are going to be like, this guy's too serious. I can't really talk to him about anything. He's too serious. You want to lighten up. You want to, of course, there's a time to be serious, but learn to laugh at yourself. I just grabbed, I was in RDU airport. The girl's luggage looked just like mine. I couldn't tell the difference, except for she had this pink thing wrapped around the handle, so she knows it's hers. Well, I was in a hurry. I was like, shit, I got to get to my life. I grabbed hers, and she's like, hey, hon. I'm like, what? She goes, I think you have the wrong bag. And I'm like, what? She goes, oh, you like pink, hon? Just, we're messing around. I'm like, oh, shit, I'm sorry. I'm glad I caught it, because I needed my computer. But
yeah, for sure.
You know, I made a sexy moment. Who cares? I call mistake sexy moments. I made a sexy moment. No big deal, you know. Just, we're all going to die. So just enjoy the ride. You know, yeah, you have to take life seriously, but there's just too many people out there that are always looking for a problem, or always looking just to be triggered. Just, all right, you offended me. Who cares? Just realize what it was. It was just something that happened in a moment. It's fine. Women love a guy who has that sense of humor, because it will let her guard down. It will just let her kind of like, all right, this guy's a little funny too. I can let my funny side out, or all that. But what do you think about that? As far as, what are your thoughts on having a funny sense of humor, but not being goofy?
I think it's important. I think it's really important to, like, really not get lost in the woods. Obviously, you don't want to be vulgar. You want to kind of toe the line on what's acceptable versus what isn't, versus kind of knowing your audience and who you're really talking to. Because the cool thing about all these masculine traits that we're actually covering here today is they're all really traits of charisma. And so one of the biggest traits of charisma is being fun and actually being interesting. And what makes you fun is when you're not so uptight, you're not so judgmental, you're not just kind of being an arrogant asshole, for lack of a better word, right? You're able to laugh at yourself. You're able to laugh at the situation. You're able to keep things calm, lighthearted, and fun. And making people laugh is one of the best ways to really kind of thaw them out and break the ice and say, hey, you know, this is who I am. I'm a fun person. I'm really fun to be around. That's what makes you magnetic. That's really the whole point of everything that we do, is making you a more magnetic person. and not just a magnet for women or anything like that, but a magnet for everything and everyone that really belongs in your life. And if you're that fun, charismatic person, you're able to kind of poke fun at yourself, you're able to poke fun at the situations and not be so serious all the time. Because I mean, it is a fine line. I'm not saying like don't be completely goofy and be a complete goofball all the time and make fun of every situation all the time. Because there's times when it's inappropriate.
Sure.
There's times when we have to be serious.
Yep.
There's times when we have to be confident and assertive and really like backing our offer and what we're talking about and our word and having integrity and all those things are all super important parts of this. And I think that, like I said, people who can just have fun for the sake of having fun, I think are probably the most charismatic people to be around.
I think also, just to top this, I think also having a sense of humor kind of humanizes you. You're not so robotic. I mean, look at me. I'm 6'1", I'm about 220, I have a throat tattoo. If most people that are near me, and I'm usually more dressed up, but anyway, are like, all right, this dude kills people for a living. But I'll be on the plane, I'll just stick my tongue out to somebody, like, they're like, what the hell? But I'm more like that than I'm not, but it's your appearance. So maybe if you are a bigger guy and you're kind of maybe have what we call for the women like resting bitch face, men have that stern face.
Right. Yeah.
And you got to come out of that shell a little bit, like, hey, just go up to somebody, give them a high five or something. And people won't expect it from you at all. They're like, what the hell just happened? It does humanize you, and it does kind of just bring you down a little bit to allow other people around you to let their guard down. So that's the last I'll say about it, but it's a very sexy trait. Yes, to get women, but it's also incredibly useful in sales.
That's what really makes you interesting too. It makes people interested in getting to know you more. It makes you more mysterious and stuff to them too. And so they just want to uncover more. They want to know more about you. They know that you're a fun person to hang out with. And so they'll just start inviting you to more things. They'll start gravitating towards you, bringing you more opportunities. That's really what all this stuff leads to.
Yeah. And I think the last one before the bonus that I alluded to, I did get some comments, and I don't understand why, but it's just intelligence, but it's not intelligence and women want the smartest guy in the room. It's really how to read. It's emotional intelligence is where I was getting at, is having that ability to be emotionally centered and really just pick up on maybe her vibe shifted, understanding, okay, something's bothering her, or even in sales, like just reading somebody, it's having an emotional intelligence, understanding your surrounding is really where I was talking about. And then on top of that, yes, having some type of an intelligence. You don't want to be just a dum-dum.
You got to skill yourself up. Yeah, you got to have certain skills, make yourself more valuable. That's really what makes you more valuable as a person. Makes people want to work with you, want to pay for your services, that kind of stuff too.
Yeah.
Get you better jobs. It gets you more status in life. It just does. And so, like, I think that you have to have a certain kind of intelligence, but you have to also be independent too. Like, you got to know how to do things for yourself. Know how to do your laundry. Know how to cook basic things. Know how to fix basic things on a car or around a household. I mean, these are all really important things, and all of them are really traits of intelligence and that stuff too. Like I said, just level yourself up. Think innovatively.
And I'll piggyback on that because this is a perfect thing. Could I myself, Jared, create a website? Sure, I could buy a kit and all this stuff. Will it be any good?
Right.
No, but I can create a website enough to know to have Kim and Chase build me one that built in it that has back because they know how to do it and they can do it a hell of a lot faster. That's also intelligence, is understanding your own limits, and like, yeah, I can do it, but I can have somebody else much more qualified, much better, do it faster, and probably less money, because a lot of people don't factor in their own time. Like, for me to figure out how to do a website that's gonna suck already, it cost me more than just have you guys do it. So that's also the part of intelligence, is understanding that, okay, I might not know a lot about this. I know a little bit about it, but that's okay. Like, I know other people that know more about it and they can help me in this. Is bringing in people in your life that can help you in the areas that you're not the best at, but you're, by bringing them in, like our website, you do my scalp site, you did my magnetic men's site. I think you did one of my eye smash sites back in the day. I'm not sure, but bringing people in, that's also a sign of intelligence, knowing that you're not
Yeah.
arrogant enough to be like, I can do this all myself. You
Well,
won't.
that's really important in the business world too. Actually, a lot of people understand like what their limitations are and the fact that like you got to play to your strengths. Don't try and fix your weaknesses. Don't try and make that stuff better. It takes too much time, too much energy. You're not going to like any aspect of it anyway. So play to your strengths and fill in your weaknesses with other people. That's one of the biggest things
Yep.
that rich people don't tell you. That's one of the biggest secrets to actually being successful and getting rich, is the fact that you're going to need other people. So you need to become a people person. You need to attract people to you. You need to make sure that you can get A players as employees. You got to make sure that you can get the best clients out there, because that's really what's going to help you win in life. You've got to be charismatic. You got to be a people person. That's one of these major things. You got to have that charisma.
Yep. And again, it goes back into getting a good performance coach. If you are lacking in an area, don't think, oh, I can just read a book about this. You can. Back to my website, you can. It'll take you a lot longer. Or you can get a good performance coach that you click with, and they'll cut years off the time and get you up to snuff where you need to be. More and more people are starting to realize the value of life coach. I call it more performance coach, but realizing that value is like, look, I am worth taking healthy shortcuts. Like, why do I want to keep going through all this when this guy can help me break through a lot of this crap? So jumping on a call with us, telling us what's going on, like what are you stuck in? If we can cut years out of this garbage out of your life and get you back into, get you back to where you should be, I would think that's worth some money. I think it'd be some worth an exchange value of some kind. And
Absolutely.
more and more people are starting to realize that. I'm like, you know what? Been listening to Jared for over a year now. I know some people that has been coached by him, and so I'm just going to jump on a call. And then they're like, literally, some of them are like, holy shit.
Well, that's the thing though too, is our brains are not very good at thinking long term.
Right.
So here's the thing. That's why we're always looking for instant gratification. That's why we're always trying to just stay comfortable and just deal with life, whatever it is that we have to do that. We all have our vices. Every single person out there has their habits and beliefs that hold them back.
Yep.
But ultimately, really what it all comes down to is the fact that, like, when you have somebody who's been through the ringer, you have somebody who has experience, who's tried to apply all this stuff, they really can provide you some shortcuts that you didn't realize. Like, I remember when I first got into business, like, I didn't know that I needed a CRM. I didn't know that I needed automations and stuff. I didn't know like all the different conversion rate optimization I was going to get into, how to track all the results and how to send that stuff back to dashboards so we could make quick decisions. There's so much that's involved with it. It took me a few years to learn it all and to really get comfortable with it. And so that's the whole point, is realizing that you can't come into things perfect anyway. And you're not going to know everything anyway. And there's other skills that you can learn just by being a people person and being willing to go reach out to other people, make friends, forge those connections. It's all going to take you everywhere that you want to be. Yeah. And like I said, the biggest thing is people just can't think long term. So they don't see those long term benefits right away. So the way they're thinking about it, oh, this is going to be constantly painful. That's what keeps people out of the gym too. They're just like, oh my God, that's going to be so painful to go to the gym every day. It's going to be so painful the next day. Whatever it is, right? But the thing is you've got to push through it, because once you get through it, it gets easier. Everything starts to get a lot easier. And so if you're trying to think long term, if you pay for a coach and you pay for a mentor, then it's going to shortcut all that time. You're going to be happy a lot faster. You're going to have all the things that you want, achieve your goals a lot faster. That's going to lead to a way better life for you a lot faster. So what are you waiting for? How much more pain and anguish? What is the cost of not moving forward? What if you don't move forward today? What if you're in the same position 6 months from now? What if you're in the same position a year from now? How much more misery are you willing to tolerate in your life? That's what all this comes down to.
Yeah, and sadly, most men, year over year, are only going to get worse in their life, and that's what I'm trying to help mitigate. Because at the core, I just want you guys to become your badass selves, and that leads into the last one, the bonus, because it is important. I want to get in because I want to respect your time. Is ambition, probably above everything else that we talked about. An ambitious man is probably the most sexiest man in the world. Doesn't have anything to do with looks, anything like that. A man who knows what he wants, doesn't parrot and say, one day I'm going to be this, one day I'm going to be that. He actually does it. And he might not do it well in the beginning. He might fail 100 times, but he gets back up and does it. He keeps going. And he might say, you know what? He might go into another industry and say, I want to do this. He keeps moving forward. Long term, he understands that if I can hedge myself, if I can get into an industry, maybe like for me, I'll use me as an example, scalp micropigmentation. I'm one of the first people in the US to actually be an artist doing this. I've been doing it for 8 years. I got laughed at for the first 4 years from people like, it's a head tattoo. That's stupid. I would never do it. Now I have a waiting list most times for people to come and see me.
It's true too. Yeah, for sure. I mean, it seems dumb until it doesn't seem dumb. Until it seems like
Right.
it's a really good option, right?
But it's just that mindset. I said, yeah, I can do this. I sucked at it in the beginning. I don't know about CRMs and how to get Google out, but I
Right.
found you on that. So it was just taking an idea and say, fuck it, I'm going to do it. I don't care if I fail or not. I'm not going to have regret. I'm just going to do it. I can't tell you how many women that I talk to that I just know, and they're like, dude, I don't know how you do it. Like, but that is the sexiest thing, is just that mindset. You're going to do it. And if you're a doer, if you develop that doer's mentality, if you have that hustler's mindset, just know it doesn't have it. You can be the ugliest dude in the world. If you have that, there are going to be women that are like, fuck this guy. You're gonna tick a box that in her mind that you fit very well.
Well, that's the thing too. Is women, when they like you, they look past all your flaws.
They
They
do.
just they don't even see it. They don't even think about it. They're not even talking about it. None of it. They don't care what you look like. When they like you, when you've been that magnetic person, you've been confident, you've been assertive. They can see that you're stable and you're secure and you're safe. They know that you're a kind person. They know that you exude that intelligence and that ambitious drive to get whatever you
Yeah.
want, whatever your purpose is. You're going to fulfill it no matter what it takes. You're assertive. You're clear on your path, your
Yeah.
purpose. You're clear on your values, all that stuff. She's going to be attracted to that.
Yeah.
That's really just, that's what's going to attract her. She's not even going to know what it is. She can't even put her finger on it. But this guy, he's so mysterious. He's awesome.
Yeah.
And so that's really what it comes down to. I mean, it seems silly, but it's the truth. And like I said, women who like you, they'll look past all your flaws.
Yeah.
Women who don't like you will exaggerate them. And so that's the other thing to remember too. Like, you're not going to be able to please everybody. Just don't get attached to that outcome. Like, there's so many women out there. There's so many people that you can practice on.
Yeah.
You can play the field and make sure that you really understand who you are, which is the whole goal, is to just really discover yourself, who you are as the player, building yourself up, building your main character, and just being that person. And that's really what makes you confident and assertive and start to actually get all these other things under control. Is really just thinking about the best version of yourself and keeping that person in mind and why you want to get there, why you want to achieve that stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, I agree. And, an ambitious man is generally a busy man, and a busy man is not a needy man. He doesn't have time for that shit. My girlfriend lives in South Carolina. I'm in New York. I'm busy every day. So when I get to North Carolina, she comes and sees me. Sometimes I go down there, but I'm not needy about it. And she also understands what she signed up for. You signed up for a busy man. I'm not going to be like those guys that need to see you every day. I'd like to, but I can't. And I'm fine with that. So there's a drawback to it too. An ambitious man is a very busy man. And it does take a certain type of woman to understand that. A lot of women want ambition, but when they actually get to it, like, oh, you're gone for a week? Yeah.
There's a lot of women that just want the attention.
They want the idea of ambition, but they don't really understand what that means. It means this dude's not going to be around a lot. Some women are fine with that. Some women you have to kind of teach and realize I'm not sleeping with people. I'm busy, but that's the drawback with ambition. Ambition will create a very busy man, and you need to find the right woman to understand that, because not a lot of women truly want a busy man.
He's an achiever. He's a go-getter. That's what they say about him. Yep.
Yeah, it was a good one today, man. I know as we get more into these, we're going to kind of shift some of the videos into more of a personal dialogue and into some of the things that happened in my life and how I overcame them. And you're going to do the same as well. But we're going to shift a lot of that in our own videos on YouTube as well. But, like I said, our demographic seems to be 25 to 35. I personally thought it'd be older men because I am older. But like I told Chase, well, maybe those guys are too far gone. I don't know. I don't know, and it does make sense. They're too set in their ways. And that's
right. Change is hard.
If I got to be Papa Jared to you guys and tell you stuff that your dad should be telling you or never told you, fine, I'll be Papa Jared and we're going to knock this out, because I need more guys when they hit 48. Maybe you're 25 when you hit 48 to be able to look back on their life and be like, dude, I rocked this. Because I can honestly say I rocked my freaking life already. All the shit I did, I'm proud of. Some of it I'm not, but I want you to be back and like, fuck yeah, I did that.
Exactly.
And I'm still young enough to keep going. I'm still young enough to be like, all right, what are we doing now? So that's what I want. I want you to have those options in your life. I want you to have that freedom in your life. And I want you to bring somebody in that you truly care about that experience it with you. That's all.
It's all about that ultimate happiness, really what that means to you, what that achievement means to you. That's all for you guys. And so that's why we have that free breakthrough session on our website too. So feel free to schedule that breakthrough session. We're happy to sit down and talk to you guys. Yeah. We're happy to hear your story and just give you some advice. Really, it's not a sales call. We're not here to sell you anything. Obviously, we can't sell you anything that you don't need. And so just like I said, hop on that call. Let's talk. Let's figure out exactly how we could be doing better, obviously, on this channel too, and how we can really target more content that is meaningful to you guys, that you guys really need some help with. So feel free to leave those likes, those comments, recommend this video to some other people. Make sure you're subscribed to the channel. Go sign up for our newsletter. Start getting our updates. And like I said, we really appreciate having you guys around. We appreciate you guys showing up for these lives every single week. We're going to be here every week to talk to you guys. So like I said, go fill out that breakthrough session, sign up for that, start to get into this next level and really just level yourself up, get as much value from this as you can. We appreciate you guys. You guys have a great weekend. We'll see you guys again next week.